Right now, as you're reading this, millions of men are trapped in psychologically abusive relationships and they don't even know it. They think they're being good partners, good husbands, good men. But in reality, they're victims of a type of violence so subtle, so insidious that by the time they realize what's happening, they're already destroyed. Today, I'm going to expose the hidden world of female psychological violence, the tactics, the manipulation, the systematic destruction of men that nobody wants to talk about. Society tells you that men are the abusers and women are the victims. Always. No exceptions. But what if I told you that women commit just as much relationship violence as men? They just do it differently. Men use fists. Women use psychology. Men leave bruises on the body. Women leave scars on the soul. And guess which one is illegal? That's right. Only the physical violence. A woman can psychologically torture you for decades and nobody will believe you, help you, or even acknowledge it's happening. I'm about to share real cases that will make your blood run cold. These aren't weak men. These aren't losers. These are successful, strong men who got systematically broken down by masters of psychological warfare. And the most terrifying part, it probably started exactly like your relationship did. Sweet, caring, loving. That's how they get you. Let me tell you about this executive I consulted with. 60 years old, built a successful company, raised a family, thought he'd done everything right. His wife hasn't spoken to him in 3 years. Not a word. She lives in the same house, sleeps in the same bed, but treats him like he doesn't exist. He only leaves his room when she goes to work. He buys his food separately, eats alone, lives like a ghost in his own home. The house he paid for. The life he built. How did it start? She didn't like his friends. They're a bad influence. They don't respect me. It's them or me, so he chose her. Then it was his hobbies. Fishing is childish. Golf is a waste of money. You should spend time with family, so he gave those up too, then his family. Your brother is toxic. Your mother doesn't like me. We need boundaries. Before he knew it, he had nobody left but her. And once she had him completely isolated, she stopped pretending to care. The sickest part. The house is in her name. He took out a massive mortgage right before retirement, put it all in her name because that's what loving husbands do, and now he's trapped paying for a prison he can't escape. If he leaves, he's homeless at 60. If he stays, he's dying inside. He hasn't had sex in over a decade. He hasn't had a conversation in 3 years. He's a broken man who built an empire but can't even eat dinner in his own kitchen. Here's what men don't understand about female violence. It's designed to be invisible. When a man hits a woman, everyone can see the bruise. When a woman destroys a man psychologically, nobody sees anything. She looks like a saint while you look crazy. She plays the victim while being the predator. She cries in public while torturing you in private. And if you ever react, if you ever raise your voice or punch a wall, suddenly you're the abuser and she's proven right about you. Let me break down the weapons they use, because once you see them, you can't unsee them. First is guilt manipulation. Everything becomes your fault. She's unhappy? You're not romantic enough, she's bored. You're not exciting enough, she cheated. You drove her to it. You're constantly trying to fix problems that don't exist, apologizing for crimes you didn't commit, making up for failures that are just her projections. There was this programmer who came to me, brilliant guy, makes serious money. His wife has him convinced he's a sex addict who needs therapy. Why? Because he wants sex more than once a month. She's weaponized psychology against him. You're obsessed with sex. You only see me as an object. You need help. So now he's in therapy for having a normal sex drive while she controls him through manufactured shame. She decides when, how, and if they have sex, and he's grateful for scraps because she's convinced him he's broken. The second weapon is isolation. This one's genius in its simplicity. She doesn't forbid you from seeing friends, that would be too obvious. Instead, every time you go out, there's a fight. Not about going out, about something else. The trash you forgot last week. That comment you made 2 months ago. She times these fights perfectly, so you're either late, upset, or you cancel entirely. After a while, your friends stop inviting you. He's whipped. She's got him on a leash. They fade away, and she never had to explicitly forbid anything. Then she love bombs you. We don't need anyone else. You and me against the world. Nobody understands us like we understand each other. It feels romantic until you realize you're completely alone with someone who's systematically destroying you. Your support network is gone. Your reality check is gone. She becomes your only source of validation, and she uses it like a weapon. The third weapon is public humiliation disguised as jokes. She tells funny stories about your failures. She mentions your insecurities casually in conversation. Oh, Bob's trying to lose weight again. Yeah, Mike's business idea didn't work out, but he's trying something new. She undermines you constantly, but with a smile. So if you object, you're the one who can't take a joke. You're too sensitive. You're ruining the mood. I heard about this situation at a dinner party. The wife spent the entire night making jokes about her husband's salary, his receding hairline, his performance in bed. Everyone laughed uncomfortably while he sat there dying inside. But what could he do? If he gets angry, he's the abusive husband who can't take a joke. If he leaves, he's the dramatic one who ruined the evening. He just had to sit there and take it while everyone watched him shrink. The fourth weapon is sex as currency. This is so common it's considered normal, but it's abuse. Sex becomes a reward system. You do what she wants, maybe you get lucky, you disagree with her. Dry spell, you want to see your friends. I'm not in the mood. You cancel plans with friends. Come to bed, baby. She trains you like a dog, and you don't even realize it's happening. You just know that keeping her happy means maybe, possibly, if you're good enough, you might get the intimacy that should be a normal part of your relationship. There's this entrepreneur I worked with, married 15 years, hasn't had sex in 3. Not because he doesn't want it, but because his wife has created impossible conditions. He needs to lose 20 pounds first, but also make more money, but also spend more time at home, but also be more spontaneous, but also plan more dates. The goalpost keeps moving because the goal isn't to have sex with him, it's to control him through the promise of it. The fifth weapon is financial control through social pressure. She doesn't need access to your accounts when she can shame you into spending. Sarah's husband bought her a Tesla. My sister's family goes to Europe every summer. I guess I'm just not worth a nice ring. You work yourself to death trying to afford the lifestyle she demands, and if you can't provide it, you're a failure as a man. But if you work too much to afford it, you're neglecting the family. You can't win because winning was never an option. The sixth weapon is the children. This is the nuclear option. You'll never see your kids again. I'll tell them what you really are. They'll grow up knowing daddy didn't love them enough to stay. She weaponizes your love for your children, knowing that men almost never get primary custody. You'll stay in hell to be near your kids, and she knows it. She can do anything, treat you any way, and you'll take it because leaving means losing your children. A contractor told me his wife explicitly said, I can treat you however I want because if you leave, I get the house, the kids, and half your income for the next 15 years. So shut up and deal with it. And she's right. The legal system is designed to protect women from abusive men, but nobody thought about protecting men from abusive women. The system becomes another weapon in their arsenal. The seventh weapon is gaslighting, making you question reality itself. I never said that. You're imagining things. You're too sensitive. That didn't happen. Over time, you stop trusting your own memory, your own perceptions, your own feelings. She rewrites history constantly, and because she's more emotionally intelligent, more verbally skilled, she makes you believe her version of events. You know that argument you had last week where she said something cruel? It never happened. That promise she made, you misunderstood. That boundary you set, you're being controlling. She flips everything until you're the bad guy in every story, and eventually you start believing it. Maybe you are too sensitive. Maybe you are controlling. Maybe you are the problem. The eighth weapon is emotional terrorism. She threatens suicide if you leave. She has panic attacks when you disagree. She cries hysterically when you set boundaries. You become responsible for her emotional regulation, walking on eggshells to avoid triggering another crisis. Your needs disappear because managing her emotions becomes your full-time job. There's this doctor whose wife has anxiety attacks every time he tries to go to professional conferences. Real panic attacks with hyperventilating and everything, except they only happen when he tries to have independence. He hasn't been to a conference in 5 years. His career is stagnating, but at least she's stable. He's given up his professional life to manage her conveniently timed mental health crisis. The ninth weapon is the victim flip. This is masterful manipulation. She provokes you for hours, days, weeks, needling, pushing, prodding, until you finally snap. You yell, you punch a wall, you throw something, and suddenly she's the victim. She has evidence. You're the abuser. Everything she did to provoke you disappears, and only your reaction remains. She might even call the police, and who do you think they'll believe? The 10th weapon is intermittent reinforcement, the most psychologically addictive pattern known to behavioral science. Sometimes she's wonderful, loving, sexual, supportive, everything you fell in love with, just often enough to keep you hooked, to make you think things are getting better, to give you hope. But it's calculated. She gives you just enough to keep you from leaving, then pulls it away to keep you desperate. This is why men stay in these relationships. It's not weakness, it's addiction. Your brain becomes chemically dependent on those rare moments of approval, those glimpses of the woman you married. You'll endure months of abuse for one good day, telling yourself things are improving, she's changing, it's getting better. But it's not. It's a manipulation technique, and it's working perfectly. Now let me tell you about another weapon that's particularly devastating: medical manipulation. She develops mysterious illnesses that only flare up when you try to have independence or set boundaries. Suddenly she has migraines when you want to visit your parents. She has stomach issues when your friends invite you out. She has a bad back when you suggest she gets a job. These conditions are real to her. The symptoms are real, but they're psychosomatic, created by her subconscious as control mechanisms. You become her nurse, her caretaker, her servant. How can you leave someone who's sick? What kind of monster abandons an ill partner? She's got you trapped by your own compassion and sense of duty. Meanwhile, she's perfectly healthy when doing things she wants to do. That bad back doesn't stop her from shopping. Those migraines disappear when her friends call. But you can't point this out without being called insensitive and uncaring. There's also the spiritual manipulation, using religion or spirituality as a weapon. God wants you to be a better husband. The universe is telling me you need to change. My intuition says you're lying. She becomes the moral authority, the spiritual guide, the one connected to higher powers. Your feelings, your needs, your perspectives are all lower vibration or sinful or toxic masculinity. She's enlightened, you're broken, and need her guidance to be fixed. Now, here's the really sick part. Society enables this. Try telling someone your wife is abusing you. Watch their face. They'll assume you're weak, you're lying, or you're the real abuser trying to flip the script. Men's shelters basically don't exist. Support groups for abused men are nearly impossible to find. The entire support system is built for female victims only. A business owner I know tried to report his wife's abuse. She'd been hitting him for years, throwing things, destroying his property. The police laughed at him. Literally laughed. What do you want us to do, arrest your wife? Man up. When she called the police on him after he grabbed her wrist to stop her from hitting him with a lamp, he spent the night in jail. He had the defensive wounds, she had no marks, but he went to jail. The mental health system is just as bad. Couples therapy becomes another venue for her manipulation. She charms the therapist, plays the victim, and suddenly, therapy is about fixing your anger issues and your control problems. Individual therapy isn't much better. Try finding a therapist who takes male abuse victims seriously. Most are trained to see men as perpetrators, women as victims, end of story. So what do you do if you recognize yourself in this? First, understand that it's not your fault. You're not weak. You're not crazy. You're being systematically abused by someone who knows exactly what they're doing. The fog in your head, the confusion, the self-doubt, that's not you being stupid. That's the result of sustained psychological torture. Second, document everything. Every incident, every threat, every manipulation. Not because anyone will believe you, they won't. But because you need to remind yourself what's real when she tries to gaslight you. Write it down. Email it to yourself. Create a record that she can't rewrite. Third, rebuild your support network in secret. She's isolated you for a reason. Other people are reality checks. Start reconnecting with old friends, make new ones she doesn't know about. You need people who can remind you who you were before she broke you down. Fourth, get your finances in order quietly. Open a separate bank account she doesn't know about. Start saving. Document all assets. Prepare for war while hoping for peace, because when you finally make your move, she'll try to destroy you financially. Fifth, Understand that leaving might mean losing everything: your house, your kids, your money, your reputation. She'll tell everyone you're an abuser. She'll turn your children against you. She'll take you for everything she can. But staying means losing yourself, and that's the one thing you can't afford to lose. The hardest truth is this: the woman you love doesn't exist. She was a character, a performance designed to hook you. The real her is the one who hurts you, controls you, diminishes you. The sweet moments, the good times, that's the manipulation. The abuse is the reality. Some of you reading this are thinking, this isn't me. My situation is different. She's not that bad. That's what every abuse victim thinks. That's what I thought. That's what every man thinks until he's 60 years old, hiding in his room, afraid to eat dinner in his own kitchen. Others are thinking, but I love her. Maybe I can fix this. You can't fix someone who doesn't think they're broken. In her mind, the relationship is working perfectly. She has complete control. You do everything she wants. And if you're unhappy, that's your problem to solve by being a better servant. The only way to win this game is to stop playing. But that requires admitting you're in an abusive relationship, and most men would rather die than admit they're being abused by a woman. Your pride is killing you. Your ego is keeping you trapped. Your need to be seen as strong is making you weak. Look, I know this is brutal to hear. I know it challenges everything you've been taught about relationships, about women, about yourself as a man, but someone needs to say it. Women can be just as evil as men. They just hide it better. They use society's bias, legal systems, and psychological manipulation instead of fists, but the damage is the same. Actually, it's worse. Bruises heal, but psychological scars can last forever. If you're in this situation, you're not alone. Millions of men are silently enduring the same abuse, thinking they're the only ones, thinking they're weak, thinking it's their fault. It's not. You're not weak for being manipulated by someone you loved and trusted. You're not stupid for not seeing it earlier. You're a victim of sophisticated psychological abuse, and admitting that is the first step to freedom. The question is, how much more of your life are you willing to sacrifice to someone who sees you as nothing more than a resource to exploit? How many more years will you spend walking on eggshells in your own home? How much more of yourself will you lose trying to satisfy someone who will never be satisfied? You have one life, one chance. And right now, you're spending it as a prisoner to someone who doesn't love you. They love controlling you. That's not a relationship, it's a hostage situation. And deep down, you know I'm right. The question is, what are you going to do about it? Most of you will do nothing. You'll finish reading this, feel a moment of recognition, maybe even anger, then go back to your cage. Because leaving is scary, because starting over is hard, because maybe it's not that bad, because maybe tomorrow will be better. It won't be. Tomorrow will be exactly like today, and the day after, and the day after that, until you're that 60-year-old man eating alone in his room, wondering where his life went. But some of you, a few of you, will recognize this as your wake-up call. You'll realize you're not crazy, you're not alone, and you're not trapped. You'll start planning your escape. It will be the hardest thing you've ever done. You'll lose things you can't imagine losing, but you'll gain something priceless, yourself. The choice is yours. Stay in hell with the devil you know, or risk everything for a chance at freedom. Just remember, every day you stay is a day you can't get back. Every day you accept the abuse is a day you've chosen slavery over sovereignty. And one day, you'll run out of days. Stop letting her gaslight you into thinking you're the problem. Stop letting society shame you into silence. Stop letting fear keep you trapped. You deserve better. You deserve peace. You deserve respect. You deserve love that doesn't come with conditions, manipulation, and control. But you'll never get it as long as you stay with someone who sees your pain as their power. The clock is ticking. Your life is passing. And she's counting on you being too scared, too tired, too broken to leave. Prove her wrong. Thank you all very much for watching.